It is time to make the sound to summon the stream. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Will Quickcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. Hello, Cole. Hello, Suleiman. Hello, Noob. Hello, everybody, and welcome. What a goddamn surprise you want me to add a freaking mimic. Because of course you do. Let's see. I guess the Pepsi offices. What did I miss? I have no way of answering that. I know I haven't seen you for a few weeks, so I'm not sure exactly what you've missed. Anyway, allow me to introduce this. I'm Quill Quickcard. This is RPG Maker MZ, where for more than a year I have been building an RPG with help from as many suggestions and ideas from viewers as possible. Anybody is welcome to contribute to the project. You can chat along here in the live streams. You can leave comments on the videos, or you can join the community Discord as well. Anyway, you can suggest ideas. We are more than welcome to have them. Anywho, we are currently working on the third act of the game, which is all taking place basically on this big sort of jungle and swamp island here. So far, we have a basic framework for what's going on. Basically, there are two tribes that can be found on this part of the world. The Bat folk live here on the southern part in this village. The Cat folk live up here on the northern part of the village, and they are currently pretty much in a state of war with each other. They don't really have the numbers for like big open war, but there is open conflict between them. The two halves of the continent are divided by this lovely cave that we built. And basically we have come to this area because we need to reach this building here, which is the headquarters of the Pepsi Corporation. Because we have found mysterious, ominous Coke bottles from the last two major act bosses that we fought. Those being the Red Dragon in the Tundra and the False Hydra beneath Wallachia. So our journey takes us here in order to reach the Pepsi headquarters so we can ask them about the ominous Coke bottles. Along the way, we find that we cannot cross the swamp until we go into the mountains and get a hook shot. So, yeah, now there's a hook shot in the game, which has been kind of a logistical nightmare, but it does work. And so we get the hook shot. We can learn a little bit about what's going on here in the Batfolk village. We cross the swamp. We get to the Pepsi Land headquarters. And then the Pepsi Land headquarters, they'll have us go into their Pepsi Void just to activate the fast travel for this area. And they will eventually direct us to head up to the Catfolk village, where we will get our next party member. I think that about covers all of the stuff that we've really figured out so far. So I do have a few things that I want to work on today. Make a robotic dragon that shoots rockets and has a minigun as its tongue. I do not have an asset for that. So, no. For today's stream, the general things that I want to focus on over the next couple of hours is I want to start designing enemies for some of these maps. In particular, the mountain and the swamp need some enemies, and we also need to design the boss fight for our character Katasby, who we literally have never even made. Okay. All my messages are buried, but I hope you saw my goodbye. Yeah, I did see you. Take care of yourself, Suleiman. So Katasby is going to be here. They're going to start at level 15. And let's see. This one looks nice and deranged. We'll go with that. Katasby. Okay. And now we need a class for Katasby. So we're going to start with the stuff we came up with for the Paladin. And we're going to play it a little bit weaker. There we go. Increase the attack. Defense is definitely going to be on the lower range. Magic attack, bit on the lower range. Magic defense, bit on the lower range. A corrupted phoenix that you have to save. Not for this portion of the game. Let's see. The skill type here is just going to be number 14. As far as weapon types, they will use claws. They can use light armor, light helmets, general armor. They can use a crowbar. They cannot use shields. They can use accessories. For another one, I won't say add everything in this one. I can make a note of it, but please be aware that when you're adding things like this, you are giving me ideas for things that are probably not going to be around for several months at the very least. Okay, and this one is going to be Hybrid Hunter. Okay. Katasby, Hybrid Hunter class, starting at level 15. That's fine. Okay, we've got a lot of work here to do. We'll call their skill Hunting. How many team members are there in total now? 4 permanent party members, and then we've had a 5th that didn't really stick around. So, let's see, that's 57, that's 50. We're going to need another column here in order to keep track of the claw weapons. And starting with the Jungle 1 values, somewhere between the cat bow and the sword. Let's put it at 60. Mark off all of these other parts like that. Okay. Lots of things going on here. Yes. Yes, there is. Okay. So this is where we're going to have our first claw weapon with 60 attack. Very expensive claw weapons. Some are 4,000, some 5,000, and it's 60. No. These are marks. These are marks where it's between 2 different values. In this case, it's a mix between the physical and the magical boosting values. Claw physical, yes. These are going to be hunting claws. A set of fierce claw-like weapons used in brutal hunting rituals. That should work fine. Did I never make the next set of armor here? Okay, what about the light armor? The general was 41. The light was marked by an asterisk. Okay, so 32 and 40. Okay, so we'll call this the hunting mask. What do you think of the hit Pokemon Miss Magius? I have no strong opinions regarding Miss Magius. Defense on light head armor is 20. Raise the price to 2,200. A simple... no. An elaborate decorated headdress worn by ritual hunters. There's the hunting mask. And then this will be the hunting suit. which is fine. Which was set to 32. With a little bit of this, price is going to be 3,000. Elaborate, decorative gear worn by ritual hunters. Okay, perfect. So the character starts with the hunting claws, the hunting mask, and the hunting suit. It's still letting them wear the reinforced. Oh, right, reinforced is general. It's not jungle set. Oh, Mihao! Hello! Welcome to the stream. Is there anything that you would like to contribute to this project? We are working on sort of a jungle swamp. We particularly need ideas for enemies that can be found in the swamp. Abilities or mechanics for our new character, the Catboy Katasby. You contribute yourself. Well, I guess that works. Where did I put... Did I build any of Katasby's skills? Crocodile, zombies, slimes. Yes, those are all good ideas. No, I don't think I actually built any of Katasby's skills. I made a list of them, but I hadn't designed them yet. Okay. So... how do I want to put this? Monster ideas for jungle. If you would like, or honestly just anything. If you watch for a few minutes and see something, and just see anything where your brain just sort of clicks in and thinks, oh, this would go good there, then we're always happy to have that. Yeah, it's going to be a fair bit of database work today, I think. So we've got our basic ideas here, so let's be more specific. The Vine Storm is a pretty good one, which might stun enemies, and if it doesn't, it slows them. I think that is a fantastic ability. I really like the idea of the specific hunting skills, but I want to add something into that. Preferably like some kind of a debuff that goes along with it, so that they'll do extra damage versus specific targets, but even if they're not specific targets, it can still do a debuff. A bleeding effect works really well. That works good against an anti-beast. So we can do beast bleed, anti-beast damage plus bleed debuff. Somehow I actually hadn't used any of that. A hag. Yes. I like that idea. Hag. Crocodile, zombies, slimes. Is beast an attribute? Not yet, but it will be. Something for the bird. something for the bird. One of the best ways to deal with a bird... Oh, mud golem? That's a good idea. One of the best ways to deal with birds is with nets, blinds, kind of overlaps with this vine storm idea, so... What's a good way to present this? Okay. Echolocation from his bat-like heritage. Heals blind on self and increases hits and crits. Bacteria enemy I suggested way back. Yes, that's a good idea. Water elementals. Bacterium. So that's the echolocation. There's the drugs. We can just call it use the drugs. So, berserk on self with status immunity. Pretty basic. Poisonous plants, that's a good idea. Okay. I think this is enough to start with. So as far as a basic move, we're gonna put one here. This is going to be Beast Bleed. The element of this one is going to be Anti-Beast. So, Anti-Beast, it can crit, triggers, counterables, Cloud Monster if you can make it. Not a bad idea. Go with this one. So-and-so. So-and-so punts, I guess. Don't really know how else to put that. But it's a hunting type skill. Anti-beasts. Yes, I can give items attributes. How much MP are you running at level 15? At level 15, 165. Okay. So, honestly, 20 is pretty fine. It's pretty fine. Strike from the shadows and cause bleeding. Deals extra damage to beasts. Just make a claw, which also does the poison debuff. Eventually I'll get there. Okay, we need a new state. We're gonna have it be state number 73. State number 73 is going to copy poison. And it's going to be bleed. That's fine. Poison, HP regeneration. Make it a little bit less. Is bleeding. Is bleeding. Is no longer bleeding. It can also remove at the end of the turn paralyzing claw. That's not a bad idea. Use a fear effect, skills. Okay, Beast Bleed inflicts that. Let's have Bird Blind. And cause blindness, deals extra damage to flying creatures. And this one's just going to go there. Okay. So we have Beast Bleed and Bird Blind. I think that works. Yes. How does the blind condition set? Okay. That's fine. Intangible will also reduce damage from anti-beast and anti-bird. So far, just today, Noob, you have thrown out enough ideas that if I worked on them continuously, it would probably fill up the next 2.5 streams. Instead of always throwing out completely new concepts, we also need to work hard on refining the things that we have already developed. That looks fine. Here we go. Beast Bleed. And Bird Blind. I do like the idea of a Beast Roar, though, but that kind of overlaps with the use the drugs thing. So we have Beast Bleed and Bird Blind. We'll leave some of those open for later. Now we need some of our boosted states. So, is using echolocation. Is using echolocation, is no longer using echolocation. So, in terms of abilities, while you have this on, you are completely immune to blindness. Your hit rate increases by 10%, and your crit rate increases by 10%. We'll just say that that lasts for, like, a few turns, and then that stops. Berserk Brew. It's not a bad idea. Okay, so this is going to be Echolocate. And then I think here we go. Berserk, attack an enemy, normal, rage, action end. We'll just have it last a few turns. Has gone berserk. Is berserk. Is no longer berserk. Okay. And then this is also going to resist a whole bunch of stuff. So while you're that way, you can't be poisoned, you can't be blinded, you can't be locked, you can't be enraged, you can't be confused, you can't be charmed, you can't be put to sleep, you can't be hexed, you can't be paralyzed, you can't be stunned, you can't be controlled, you can't be bound, you can't be weak poisoned, you can't be mortified, you can't be exposed, you can't be frozen, you can't be cursed, you can't be doomed, you can't be burning, you can't be subjected to Mimic Maw, you can't be subjected to other poison, you can't be subjected to Hydra Mist, you can't be subjected to Venom Flame, you can't be subjected to Hydra Blood, you can't be subjected to Bleed. Okay. So, total status immunity on that one. State resist for buff removal includes Echolocate. Barrier is fine. That's all fine. Turtle arm. Ah. Okay, that works. So let's say 2 more hunting skills. This will be use the drugs. which applies the state Berserk. So-and-so uses the drugs. Change the icon to that. We'll make it a little more expensive, applying only to the user. It is a hunting type skill. Okay. Do the drugs. Becoming Berserk. Attacking automatically each turn and becoming immune to debuffs. Coming a burst, attacking. Auto-attacking each turn and becoming immune to debuffs. You're still throwing out more ideas. And while we are like that, we will also increase attack by 10%'s a lot. 5% will be sufficient. Okay, so that is use the drugs. Then we will have echolocate. What sort of represent that? Small boost to allies. That might work. Okay. Use your bat lineage to seek out, to use your bat lineage, bat folk lineage enables echolocation, removing blindness and increasing chance to hit and crits. Apply echolocate. This one can be cheaper. Emits a targeting sound wave. There's an ability, there's something here like Sonic Wave, that works. Gotta move for the holy user as well. We've already got way too many things to work on right now. You can throw them out, but honestly, additional ideas are pretty much going to be screaming into the void at this point. Simply because we've got so many things we need to work on. Okay, echolocate. There we go. And use the drugs. Use the drugs is another important skill. So that takes care of echolocation and use the drugs. Vine Storm. Okay. Vine Storm should be a pretty easy one. Basically, we just need a copy of Stun and Slow. This one does not have a restriction. So this is going to be Vine Storm is restricted. Is restricted. Is restricted. So this one is actually going to resist the slow state. And it just ends when they take an action, so that's fine. With a paralysis effect. Actually, no, we specifically want to go with the cannot move. Okay. Blank is restricted. Blank is restricted. Get rid of that. Is no longer restricted. This one does not have a thing, and it lasts for a few turns, and specifically it reduces the speed down to, let's say, 50%. So then what we have here is we activate the skill Vine Storm, and it has a 25% chance of applying the stun effect and a 100% chance of applying the slow effect. If the stun effect hits on that 25%, it also prevents them from getting the slowest effect. Alright, noob, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it a lot. Get some good rest. Ugh. Let's see. Bind, that's a good move. This is a magical attack targeting all of the enemies. We'll make it a bit more expensive. Conjures thick, thorny vines. And call upon the jungle flora, slowing or stunning, slowing all enemies. It may stun them. Has a 25% chance to stun enemies instead. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so that's Vine Storm. Perfect. So that is a good set of abilities for Katasbi to have for now. So now that we've got some pretty basic stuff, what we need to do is make sure that we have healing effects that can stop this stuff. Like bleed. Okay. So we need Katasbi. Let's use Zolter as a template for this one. Okay. Just like that. We'll say 500 XP, 2,000 gold. Remove all of that. Get rid of all of that. You resist the weaker and the stronger, so you can only be affected by the boss version of Frostburn. Angry drugged Catman. That is fine. Let's boost up some of these numbers a bit more. Boost up the HP. Okay. So, on turn 1, and then every 6 turns after that, you will use Vine Storm. The highest rating, okay, that's fine. So on turn 2 plus 6, you use Beast Bleed. Then you use Bird Blind. Then you use Echolocate. And then turn 5, you use the drugs. Okay, and then on turn 6 plus 6, you just go for a regular attack. So let's make sure this is functioning. We might just have our boss fight done. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So, how bad do you get after the drugs? That's the real question. Are you gonna say hot dog next time something good happens? No. I don't know why I would. Okay, that seems to work fine, honestly. We will copy all of these onto here. Blind, expose, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need poison resistance. Okay. I still want to try this one more time. I really want to see how powerful he gets when he's on the drugs. I would imagine that when he's on the drugs and also using Echolocate, a crit would probably be a guaranteed kill. Which is honestly fine by me. Okay. Okay, there's the echolocation. So his next move will be to use the drugs, and then he should do a regular attack. Alright, so how strong is an attack from the drugged Catman? This is gonna hurt like hell. Okay. And then he uses Vine Storm again. I thought he would use Vine Storm again. Why is... Oh, it's because he's in Berserk. That's why. Okay, so when he drops out of Berserk... Okay. So we need to step up the turn order. And raise up the HP, I think. Okay, so that is the Angry Drugged Catman fight. So we have the battle processing of the Catasby fight. Perfect. Okay. So that has been taken care of. Work on the Catasby fights. Okay. So let's start getting some basic enemies for this area. Let's say, like, I don't know, 1500 HP, 120, like, 80 experience. The collapse effect is fine. The state resist. That seems fine. This should be Frostburn normal, so that only the weaker version of Frostburn can hit him. which I did get right on the false Hydra, so that's good. Okay. So let's start finding our basic enemies for the mountain. Ooh, okay, a Birdman, that's pretty good. A bird. Bird works. I actually like the idea of a bird. What else? Let's see. Harpy kind of works. Lizard seems fun. Like a sun lizard. Yeah, we can do that. Let's have one more for the mountain. I mean, I kind of like the idea of this one just as like a big, giant thing. So this will be the sun lizard. This will be the mountain harpy. This will be the murderling. And this will be the Quapo. The Quake Hippo, the Quapo. Okay. So then copying these basic stats again, let's work on the swamp. Let's see. Or the small crow could be a harpy chick. That's definitely another possibility we could go with. Kind of like this one. The swamp tree. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Basic bug. Let's see. I could call this the marsh wasp. The plant looks good, but we've already made use of it before. And pretty recently. Honestly, the spider kind of works. The shadow skitter. And one more for the swamp. A hag was suggested. A hag is not a bad idea. Bacteria. Okay. Alright, bacteria. Let's adjust their colors a little bit. That's fine. The marsh wasp. The swamp tree. The sun lizard. The mountain harpy. Crow. Okay, I think that works. And then, yes, we also need Joel. So, who is going to be Joel? That could be Joel. That could be Joel. That could be Joel. Sent you the asset months ago. Alright. Let's bring that up then. Okay. Yeah. Put that over there. And asset, asset, asset. Okay, we're back in September. Was it this one? Oh, no, it was this one above it. Okay. Yeah, I see here. Put it here, here. Image, side view enemies, Joel. Okay. Refresh. That is way too big. We'll have to make an adjustment. Honestly, it's not way too big. It's just a little too big. We can fix that. All right, let's go in skit. Joel, open, GIMP. Okay, let's adjust the image to, let's say 70% its original scale. Export. Done. And Joel, There we go. Okay. So there's Joel. We got this one. Okay. So that gives us 4 enemies for the mountains. The Quapo we can reuse in the cave. The spider we can reuse in the caves. So we need a couple more enemies for the cave. Basic cave goblin. And then if we're gonna have a basic cave goblin, yeah, the golem idea had been suggested, so we should probably make use of that. That could be one. How do I not have a single good asset for golem? At least not like a traditional golem design. Okay, I can still make that work. Let's see. Golem, golem, golem. Yeah, the Stone Knight is okay. I think this kind of works for just like a clay golem, maybe. It's not quite the color I would want. Ugh, but it is close enough. Yeah, I don't think we really have a better option. Ray, I'm not failing any classes anymore. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Okay. That is fine for the clay golem. Alright, so that gives me some basic enemies for different areas of the game. not too bad. Yeah, we got that done. Okay. Let's brainstorm some of the abilities here a little bit. The Murderling is going to be a basic swarm enemy. The Mountain Harpy casts a few spells. The Sun Lizard... Ugh. Bill's gonna be a doozy if you remember the gimmick. You're gonna have to remind me. Quapo does big AoE damage. The Sun Lizard debuffs. So for over here, the Marsh is going to do debuffs. This guy is going to stun and poison. The Bacteria is going to be a basic swarm enemy. The Swamp Tree casts spells. Cavelin is going to be Bacteria swarm enemy that clones itself. It's always a pain in the ass to build, but it's not too bad. This is going to be a defensive tank. Cavelin is going to be swarm enemy with debuffs. Okay. In between this stream and next stream, I'll do a lot of work on these, since it's basically just a ton of database work and a bunch of like just moving around some numbers here and there. Yes, there's also Jules Gesnick. If you hit with fire moves, those guys break and 3 random enemies pop out. Yeah, okay. If hit with fire, it breaks into 3 enemies. That's fine. Okay. So, I think that works fine. Next thing, we're going to need some more assets. Specifically, I just put you through hell through these with these ideas, don't I? That's basically been the state of the project for the last year. I don't actually expect anybody to contribute ideas with an understanding of the amount of work it actually takes to import them. Okay, so big noses, green eyes. So we want a big bulbous nose. The eyes are actually going to be kind of blank, since these are mostly like just drones. Yeah, like that. We need just a completely blank, neutral expression. Okay. That works fine. And now we need just like a basic work uniform kind of thing. Um, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be a basic Malter drone. Okay. And import Malter. Export Malter, and we're also going to save our settings here for Pepsi drone. That should be fine to set some Pepsi drones in there. Okay. It's not that the stuff that I have to build for all the enemies and everything is particularly difficult to do. It's just that it's going to be kind of tedious. Probably realistically looking at between 5 and 6 hours of offline work just to get this stuff set up the way that I want it to be. And the Batfolk village. Let's see. Yes, you shall the battling bow, jungle shield, jungle armor, and jungle helmet. That is good. That's fine. Ugh. Ugh. Honestly, I think that's about where I'm going to call it. Another shorter stream today, but basically to fill out all the stuff that we've already built so far, the mountain, the swamp, fill, NPCs in the Pepsi Land, monsters in the Splitting Cave, all of that stuff. Probably between 5 and 6 hours of offline time I'm going to have to spend this week just filling in all the details. We really are ready to move on to working on the northern half of the continent. But we do want to make sure that all of this stuff is completely finished and fleshed out and playable before we do. So there's honestly not much more I can do right now that would be even remotely interesting. And there's not really much more I can do at this point in terms of taking suggestions either. It's really just going to be a lot of messing around with stuff we've already got and just sort of opting state. So I think that's going to be it for today's stream. The next stream will be on Sunday, back on the regular schedule. Saturday we'll be back to Pokemon Soul Silver Nuzlocke Attempt 2. Starting this week, I still don't know if I'm going to be streaming it or just recording episodes, one way or the other. But Metroid Prime 4 comes out this week. That's a big one. Silk Song's last episode comes out today. I've got some other stuff coming up after that to replace it for the daily series until I get Metroid Prime 4 up and running. And yeah, I think that's everything. So you all have to excuse me now. I am going to go and buy myself something because today is, in fact, my 38th birthday. So thank you all so much for being here today on that. I always really appreciate the company. I will see you all in the next one, and it is time to make the noise to summon the end of the stream.